Hey everybody, another album review. Let's jump right into it. This one is the brand new, and I mean brand new. It just really came out, at least from when I'm recording this a couple of days ago. It is the new album by Stitched Up Heart called Darkness. I actually was going to see Stitched Up Heart opening for Sebastian Bach, but I believe because of the state of the world today, that concert is postponed at least. So hopefully when they reschedule, Stitched Up Heart is still opening that show. Anyway, I digress. So if you've never heard Stitched Up Heart, they are not really on the heavier side of metal. Female fronted vocal here. They use more electronics and vocal effects, and not calling them electronica or anything like that necessarily, but they certainly make full use of effects in their recordings. They're a California band fronted by Mixie. She's on vocals. Then you've got Decker on drums, Merritt on guitar, Randy on bass. And it is a very tight sound, a very well-produced sound. It's rocky, it's buzzy. That's about all I can say. So I'm going to talk about the tracks here. I'm going to give you my three favorites as we go through. They open up with a track called Lost, and this one features Sully Erna. It's a pounding start. It's a nice way to open the album. More of a mature sound, I'd say, than maybe some of their earlier stuff, and that's natural as a band goes on. Not to say that any of the previous stuff was bad, but this just, again, has a more mature sound. Vocally strong and vulnerable at the same time. It's a nice mix. And then again, Sully adds just a little bit of texture in there, a little bit of, kind of breaking things up. Next up, we have This Skin. And there's a seductive vocal style here to begin this, lyrically, vocally, very seductive. And then they add this biting guitar in there just to kind of counteract that slower, again, kind of sexy vocal. Really solid background work in here too, backbeat, drums, bass. This is one of my favorite songs on the album right away. Next up, we have Problems. And this one is just full of raw emotion. It's kind of got a wall of sound. You've heard me say that before, probably. And I just mean that it's, the guitar, the bass, the drums, all of that is kind of background to what's going on vocally. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It just means that there's that wall behind you. And it's a nice backdrop. It's nice scenery. And you really just, without that, it would be kind of plain. So next up, Warrior, fourth song on the album, second of my favorite songs. This starts out with some of that electronica type of deal, kind of a robot voice saying Warrior. Soaring vocals in this one, just kind of an all-around great rock song. I really do like this one. I can't really even describe why I like it. It's one that I could see myself kind of just listening to over and over again. So that's that one. Next up is kind of all right here at the beginning were my favorite songs. So the next one, my third of my top three, Straight Jacket. This one, it's a little poppier, actually, but it's powerful and it's dark at the same time. So there's a lot to like about this particular album and this song in particular. Even though it is, again, a little bit on the lighter side, but still dark. So if you can kind of wrap your head around that, it's not a heavy album, but it's certainly a dark. It's moody. You'll just have to listen to it to see what I mean. Next up, Dirty Secrets. Clean guitar and bass to open this song. The drums kick in, kind of this soft vocal again, and this is what she does really well. She is a kind of, again, one of those chameleon vocalists that can do a lot of different things, and she works her best, I believe, when she's working that low-key, subtle, seductive singing around this rock. I really believe that's what she does the best, so that's where you're at with this one. It does kick in, and you get this more impassioned kind of vocal sound to it. That one is followed up by Darkness, again, vulnerable, broken, but it's defiant at the same time. You get into the soaring vocals. This one's a little more along the lines of a power ballad, I think, than anything else, which is fine. It's done well. We have Bones next up. This one has, again, it's soft. I wrote down in my notes here, childlike, but that's not a knock on the song. That's just maybe speaking to the vulnerability here again. in this song. It's very understated. It's clean. It's very sparse musically. They didn't want to overpower the song with any one thing along the way, and I think that it ends up being a really kind of nice, clean break in the album here. After that, we have Dead Roses, and this one builds back up. It starts lower, it builds back up into this strong vocal, a lot of noise, a lot of guitar, all of that toward the end, and that's how they finish up. Crooked Halo, interesting. This one has almost kind of an R&B kind of feel to it. I think that's the best way to describe the vibe of this. There's almost an R&B kind of beat to it. We're not talking about like hip hop or anything like that, but just kind of a slower R&B beat. Still got the guitars in there over top. It's slow, it's churning, it's dark, which I think, again, not that she would, but I really believe that Mixie has the vocal ability to probably sing just about anything. Lucky for us, she's singing rock right now. So, again, Crooked Halo there. Finally, they finish up the album with My Demon. And this one, again, is clean. Everything is clean about it to start. And then they build. They build in the guitars. They bring them in, kind of put everything together to finish out the song, to finish out the album. And it works really well. So, again here, I do have my favorite songs. This album is not going to blow you away in terms of being heavy or hard or loud. This is more of a straightforward rock album, and they do really well with that. They really know how to kind of understate things and bring a little bit more heat in when they need to. So a really good effort there. Again, the album is called Darkness by Stitched Up Heart. I'll leave the links below. Check it out, and I'll see you next time.